When the story of the last decade is finally told, most of the stories will be about the emergence of social media, the whitest president of all time, and the final term of the only commander-in-chief to successfully complete the kick-turn part of the electric slide. But the 2010s, the 20-teens, the Beyonce years, whatever you call them, they were all about resistance. So we decided to run down the greatest protest movements of the past decade. At number 10, we have the Women's March. Shortly after the 53% helped elect Donald Trump, they went on Pinterest, I assume, and bought pink headwear that they called pussy hats, which I assume is named for a rare breed of kittens only white women know about. It was called the largest protest in American history. But the greatest moment of the Women's March was this iconic photo of a black woman throwing no-look shade at the spectacle of resistors. Coming in at number 9 was the National School Walkout. According to the CDC, this was the deadliest decade for firearms death in human history. More than 100 people die every day from gun violence, and it has become the leading cause for death for black children and teens. Fed up with the rise in school shootings, teenagers and students across America decided to do something about it. They staged a national walkout, the March for Our Lives, and even went to see the president. The resulting pressure has essentially bankrupted the #1 ally for America's gun manufacturers, the National Rifle Association. It wasn't just kids and white women who were fed up. Coffee-related backlash took center stage during this century's teenage years. White people protested Starbucks for selling Happy Holidays cups. They smashed their coffee machines in support of the founding father of horse Twitter, Roy Moore, and threw black men out of coffee shops for the obscene crime of existing. Apparently, putting a white supremacist in the White House is cool, but don't mess with their Folgers crystals. The Roots would never promote violence. But as a news organization dedicated to the truth, we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge one of our favorite forms of protest this past decade: punching Nazis. Look, I'm gonna just sit here and let you watch Richard Spencer over and over again.
I'm kind of a symbol.
Okay, just one more time.
I'm kind of a symbol.
In 6th place is the Unite the Right March in Charlottesville, Virginia. There is nothing funny about white supremacy, but it is important to note that these people didn't just become racist when Donald Trump was elected. If nothing else, Nazi-Palooza is a staunch reminder that America didn't cure racism when we elected a black president. White supremacy is encoded into this country's DNA. And when the Caucasian Coachella organizers tried to hold a sequel to their white people parade, black protesters showed up in overwhelming numbers at Unite the Right 2 Racist Boogaloo, proving that white lives only matter when they are the majority. Which brings us to number 5, Colin Kaepernick's national anthem protest. Regardless of how you feel about the NFL protests, they inarguably brought the conversation about police brutality into America's favorite pastime, sports. 3 years later, the most successful sports league on the planet has spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to suppress NFL protesters, and it's still trying to figure out how they can solve this angry black man problem. It deserves the 5th spot, if only for the videos of white people burning their Nikes to show their hate for Colin Kaepernick, or their support for the troops, or the flag. You know what? No one's really quite sure exactly why conservatives were burning their Air Force 45s, but you know what they say, you can't understand a man until you've walked a mile in his barbecued shoes. The 4th most influential protest movement was the little-mentioned sit-down movement. Whether it was Auntie Maxine reclaiming her time, the Supreme Court smacking down Abigail Fisher's white mediocrity, or Ta-Nehisi Coates pimp-slapping Mitch McConnell in front of Congress, white people got the opportunity to have several seats over the past 10 years. Respectability died a slow death when Black America realized that all the education, elocution, and elections won't stop white people from white peopling. When South Carolina refused to remove the Confederate flag from its state house, Bree Newsom climbed the flagpole and removed it herself. Patricia Okumu climbed the Statue of Liberty to show the world the insidious anti-Americanism of the Trump administration's child detention policy. Black women had each other's backs by asking, "You okay, sis?" Tarana Burke's Me Too movement took on sexual misconduct. Black women muted R. Kelly and stopped the Oscars from being, well, so white. Georgia Representative Stacey Abrams tackled voter suppression, and Little Miss Flint took on environmental racism all by herself. And in the 2018 midterm elections, more Black women were elected to office than ever before. And Atlanta got a mayor named Keisha. Trust me, if you want to fix anything, just give a Black woman a bobby pin and a seat at the table. Oh, and you're probably gonna have to hold her purse. Speaking of Black women, in second place is the Black Lives Matter movement, which was started by Black women. The movement for Black lives has fundamentally changed the way America views justice, police violence, and Black protest. It's transformed politics, entertainment, and culture by showing the world that Black America is America. It is the definitive hashtag of this era and pointed a spotlight into every corner and crevice of injustice and inequality. So, what can beat out Black Lives Matter as the most important protest movement? Black joy. Over the last 10 years, Black people were not reduced to bloody chalk outlines and bullet-riddled bodies. We swag surfed in the White House, held cookouts in the Rose Garden, we flexed in our complexion, spread Black boy joy and got shiggy with the In My Feelings challenge. We conquered every sport and dared you to get in our way. We danced, we loved, we laughed, and even when we cried, we still made it look good. Well, kinda. Because isn't that a protest too? Perhaps our greatest act of resistance is our refusal to let them steal our joy. And that's why we're gonna watch this Nazi get punched in the face one more time.